Hi, welcome back to the channel, y'all. If you've never been here before, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up right here. I'm sure by now you've heard about the lawsuit against Fat Joe, but not just the lawsuit, the details of the lawsuit. Well, we have some more details in this video, but I've been thinking to myself, who is this person that used to be Fat Joe's hype man that is bringing this type of a lawsuit against him with these types of accusations? Well, the man's name is Terrence T.A. Dixon. Just to give you an idea of what the person looks like, because I'm thinking he might have been like Boricua. He might have looked like how Fat Joe looks, like one of that Hispanic type looking. Nah, it's a black dude. It's a brother. Terrence T.A. Dixon, a name that is not widely known outside of the music circles just until recently, and has come into the spotlight after filing a bombshell of a lawsuit against the Bronx Bomber-born rapper Fat Joe himself. Dixon was Fat Joe's hype man for 16 years, running out, hyping up the crowd, working closely with him on tours, and sharing in the energy of live performances. Y'all know how it goes. A hype man is super important. The hype man got to get shit moving. He also is known in the music world as Population One, is better known among electronic music fans for his minimal techno beats, techno, based in Detroit. Dixon has carved a niche for himself in the underground techno scene with releases on iconic labels like Tresor and Metroplex. On Thursday, in a 157-page lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, Dixon accused Fat Joe, Antonio Cartagena, Fat Joe, of a whole bunch of disturbing abuses. Among the most serious claims, though, are labor exploitation, financial fraud, sexual manipulation, violent intimidation, psychological coercion, and the one that sticks out the most is sexual intercourse with minors, of which he says he witnessed many times. Dixon is seeking up to $20 million in damages, and the lawsuit details years of alleged abuse, including sexual coercion under duress, surveillance-based humiliation, and forced participation in sex acts Dixon says he never consented to. These sex-based abuses were not private. He also said what is in his filings of his lawsuit. Yo, even more shocking on his allegations, he said he witnessed Fat Joe engage in sexual acts with underage girls. Of course, a lot of us are going to say, nah, bro, you should have stopped that. How does everybody witness all these atrocities and only many years later they're willing to talk about it in a lawsuit where they are suing for millions of dollars? If you were a good and genuine person, shouldn't you have been like, okay, that's where I draw the line. This is my last stop. I don't even want to go on tour with you no more. I'll go find another job, but I can't be sitting around and watching you have intercourse with children. So, of course, people are questioning his credibility, right? The man said he witnessed Fat Joe do it. Damn. The allegations against Fat Joe are complete fabrications. They're lies. You know, his attorneys are going to say all that stuff. But we got to get into the details. So without further ado, here are the details. I just wanted to put a face to the name so people understand or get an idea of who it is that is suing Fat Joe. So Fat Joe has been accused of having intercourse with minors in a lawsuit that was filed by his former hype man, T.A. Dixon. T.A. Dixon, like I said before, is seeking up to $20 million in damages, and Dixon has accused Fat Joe of coercive labor exploitation, financial fraud, sexual manipulation, violent intimidation, and psychological coercion. The filing also contains a number of crazy claims about Fat Joe's alleged sexual relationships, including with minors. Dixon alleges that Fat Joe, this is the part that's crazy to me. Dixon alleges that Fat Joe coerced him into more than 4,000 sexual acts and forced him into humiliating situations, including sex acts that were performed under duress and under surveillance, accompanied by threats of abandoning him in foreign countries if he refused to comply. Wow. So I'm saying to myself, Fat Joe into guys? The fuck? What did is Fat Joe got this man doing things to him or him to him? Y'all gotta come with some clarity for this, right? Let me understand what's popping. Well, Dixon also claims that he personally witnessed Fat Joe engage in intercourse with children who were between the ages of 15 and 16 years old. The former hype man said that Fat Joe had one 16-year-old girl perform acts in exchange for cash and some clothing and a payment of her cell phone bill. The filings further, these are the details of the filings, fam. The filings further adds that Fat Joe began having intercourse relations with a minor who is known as Minor Doe Number 2 when she was just 15 years old after a concert overseas. Defendant, Fat Joe, flew Minor Doe Number 2 to New York City and to Miami, Florida on multiple occasions. Due to Minor Doe Number 2 being adolescent looking and not fully formed, the defendant paid for her to get a Brazilian butt lift. Minor Doe Number 2 eventually left the defendant, which is Fat Joe, and is now actually married to a professional athlete. And his hype man is saying he knows he witnessed all that. Oh shit. I think I know who they talking about. Is that girl that was on? Oh my God. Somebody please leave in the comment section who you think they talking about. Was this the girl who was messing with Diddy's homie? That was recently married to Biggie Smalls' ex-wife on that daytime show or that reality TV show, Evelyn Lozada or something like. I don't know. Let me stay in this lane real quick. Anyways, Dixon also says that Fat Joe orchestrated repeated orgies involving him and female dancers and minors. And apparently, Fat Joe liked to see him put work in on these chicks. Big black dude with a big black, you know the rest. And I guess that was some type of a turn on for Fat Joe. So that's why he said Fat Joe involved him in over 4,000 sexual acts and forced him into humiliating situations, including sex acts that were performed under duress and under surveillance with the threat of abandonment overseas if he did not perform. The former hype man alleges all these things and more. Dixon says Fat Joe orchestrated these orgies, he filmed them, and they were used for entertainment purposes with female dancers and minors. Fat Joe has taken to the legal representation of A$AP Rocky's lawyer, Joe Tocopina, who blasted this lawsuit. Okay, so first of all, if you got Joe Tocopina on this lawsuit, Joe Tocopina is nobody to fuck with. He is not somebody you play with in a courtroom. I don't really like cursing in my videos, and I won't start doing it now. So get that one right there. It won't be much more of those. All right, every now and then, just to emphasize, I might slip a little and put one of those words in there, right? So Joe Tocopina is nobody to play with when it comes to, he is a super intimidating when it comes to law and defending his client. Extremely aggressive. He's not afraid to get loud and boisterous in a courtroom, and he's not afraid to fight it all the way out. So Fat Joe got somebody who he knows is going to go to bat for him. Tocopina, they actually wanted to be on Sean P. Diddy Combs' defense, but he was already representing somebody who he says is a arch nemesis of his client. So it'll be a conflict of interest and he can't switch sides. So out of loyalty, he'll stay where he's at and he wouldn't be a part of Diddy's defense team. However, they got another top lawyer who is said to be Brian Steele, who is said to be the number one criminal defense attorney in the United States of America. Anyways, at this point, Joe has lawyered up. I don't blame him. I would too. Fat Joe at this point is all the way up, and he got a lot to lose. He said in a statement that the lawsuit that was filed by Tyrone Blackburn and Terrence Dixon is a blatant act of retaliation, a desperate attempt to deflect attention from the civil lawsuit that we filed first, which exposed their coordinated scheme to extort Fat Joe through lies and threats and manufactured allegations. Law enforcement is aware of the extortionate demand at the heart of this scheme. The allegations against Fat Joe are complete fabrications, lies intended to damage his reputation and force a settlement through public pressure. Mr. Cartagena or Fat Joe will not be intimidated. We have taken legal actions to expose this fraudulent campaign and hold everybody involved and accountable. This is what Fat Joe was previously sued. He previously sued Dixon for slander after he made allegations about Fat Joe having sex with a 16-year-old girl, right? Fat Joe already sued him for that. And now he is back with a whole lawsuit against Fat Joe. And that lawsuit is something that is out of this world. Listen, one person says, what a piece of shit. Just another Holly weirdo. Big Pun is rolling in his grave right now. Another person says, Big Pun probably had his own dirt too. You know, these guys are famous, at the height of their fame, making a lot of money, traveling the world, doing shows, getting paid, etc. Have a lot of yes men around you and a lot of women who are willing to throw themselves at you. All these guys probably got a lot of dirt on them. Orgies. After the show, it's the after party, and after the party, it's the hotel lobby, and after the Belvedere is probably Chris. And after the, you get the point, right? Well, let's say another person says, at Fat Squad. Well, we all know he had a big-time binge-eating habit disorder, and we have him on video pistol whipping his wife. But so far, we haven't heard dude being a Holly weirdo like his twin here, Fat Joe. And then another person says, you just believe every damn lawsuit? Someone could right now file a lawsuit that you diddied them. Are we supposed to believe that? And that's one thing I was about to say. A lot of people out here, right? Once that lawsuit is filed, majority of people in the public space takes that lawsuit as the person is guilty and has been convicted already. This is the reason why a lot of celebrities actually settle before the lawsuit gets to the tabloids and news media and all that, and they get dragged. Because once they get into the public's court of opinion, it's a whole different story. The public does not deal with facts. The public deals with sensationalism. So if you can make the details in that lawsuit sound rather entertaining, however morbid and sick the entertainment may be, people will start to believe, damn, nobody could make all that up. That is too detailed. It sounds like it's very much true. He's guilty. And before you know it, you're losing everything that you've worked for just out of accusations. Usually, if these rappers or these entertainers or athletes, even actors, if they are under any kind of contract with any major corporation, say for instance, they have a contract with Nike, or they have a contract with Coca-Cola, or they have a contract with, any kind of big brand that would pay them $1 million check for their endorsement. The minute one of these accusations hit major news, mainstream media, those companies usually pull whatever business they got going on with these people, for the simple fact that the companies themselves would rather clip the relationship now, stop it, than to go forward and this person is tried and found guilty, and then the company is known as a company that was backing a pedophile, or a company that was backing a rapist, or a company that was backing an abuser, etc., etc. So they lose a lot of money and a lot of opportunities just by simply being accused. It's wicked. It's a wicked world. So once they're accused, then it goes public. It could normally cost them a lot. So a lot of them are willing to settle behind the scenes. Now you might be asking for 20 if this goes public. They might say to you behind the scenes, listen, man, we'll give you 5, sign this NDA, you go about your business, never hear from me again, I never hear from you again, and we got the paperwork for this agreement, and next thing you know, they make that $5 million back in a year or two. Not so much if this gets out to the public. Another person says, I know you're a troll, Mr. Pope, but you're 100% right on this one. These new hip hop fans are like Drake ass Karens with fake outrage, very gullible. They just believe everything. Another person says, how can you fly a minor to another country? They need some kind of passport and guardianship. I think this is cap. Well, not if you're flying on a private jet. If you're flying on a private jet from, say, Puerto Rico to the new United States of America, then very much so you can probably move, especially if this was back in the day. You have a lot of money and you can hit somebody a couple of grands and they'll look the other way and you move what you move. Loudpack says, you're not supposed to use your brain with these salacious accusations. Just go. I believe it because it's a celebrity, LOL. And another person, Alley Cat, says, not everyone in Hollywood is gay, stupid. Keep your homo fantasies to yourself, and you sick freak. And the last comment I'm going to read is, damn, you're so defensive. Usually the most defensive ones are the gayest ones. Have fun being in a closet. Go hang out with Greg, with Great Greg. I don't think he said anything about some gay shit. He says that Joe had him busting down these females in front of him while he was watching him. And he liked to watch him do it. And he would video them and direct them, kind of like some Diddy shit. Yeah. Always a weird thing to put in a lawsuit to me, because it seems like the person is trying to duck whatever they were doing at the time. They're accusing the person of some foul shit of the same nature. We're going to leave this one right here. I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm not going to put anything past anybody, but until they come with some solid proof, some pictures, some something, I'm just going to let this one fly while I remain on the fence. I'm not one of those people who like to tear people down with salacious information and false accusations, because that's all they are. They're really just salacious pieces of information until somebody comes forward with some solid proof. In the meantime, this shit could damage Fat Joe really, really badly. Right now, as it gets bigger, people are looking like, hey, we don't want to do business with him right now. Let's get that stuff cleared up first, because we don't want our brand getting caught up in what he got going on. Those are some serious accusations, allegations. So let's see where this goes for Fat Joe. Do y'all believe Fat Joe's ex-hype man? Is he telling the truth? Or do you think that he is just out for money. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one, and I'll catch you on the next video. You already know. I'm out. Peace.